Since it is the last day of the year, let's do a little recap and look at the map. We started off the year with Trump's inauguration. He swept the swing states in the election, and now he's coming into the White House with a mandate and a big swinging. He's got an all-star team that everybody wanted. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Kash Patel, who at the time was promising, I guess. Dan Bongino was fun while it lasted. And best of all, Matt Gaetz. Oh, no, that's right. We ended up getting Pam Bondi. And we can't forget about Elon Musk and Doge. That was a big part of everything, too, and everybody was very optimistic about that. I mean, we knew the whole game plan, right? Day one, he's going to end the wars, release the Epstein files. They're gonna cut the deficit. They're going to drain the swamp, get rid of all the corruption, deport the immigrants, save the economy. And after the whole Biden-Harris shit show and everything that went with it, for a second, it almost looked like the Democrats were never going to be in power again. And I'll bet you one thing. The right definitely wasn't worried about the midterms. So what happened? First, they faked us out with the Epstein files. They had all those right-wing influencers show up to the White House and on camera hand them a bunch of binders filled with the first wave of Epstein files that turned out to be information that was already public. Then, not only did he not stop the wars, and forget the shills like Steven Crowder that'll try to point out all the other conflicts that he did play a role in solving, the mandate was for Russia and Ukraine and Gaza, which the vast majority of us believe was a genocide that was backed and supported by both the Republicans and the Democrats, which, is really sad when you think about it, considering it's one of the few things that the Republicans and Democrats were able to agree on over the past couple of years. Not to mention the fact that the whole world was witnessing this on TikTok day in and day out. And the response wasn't to stop the slaughtering of women and children. No. It was to assassinate over 240 journalists who were reporting it. In some cases, including their families. In other cases, including bombing hospitals to target them. Oh yeah, and let's not forget, also to leverage the sale of TikTok to Larry Ellison, the world's richest pro-Israeli Zionist who is also currently advocating for mass surveillance in America, while he backs his son who is buying up all the mainstream media in America. Then we got the big beautiful bill, a massive spending bill in favor of special interests that's increasing the deficit, a complete contradiction to what we were promised on the campaign. That's what led to the tension with him and Elon. Remember when Elon had that black eye? Remember when Elon said we weren't getting the Epstein files because Trump was in it? And because I'm ripping Trump right now, I think that it's only fair that I point out that I have yet to see any evidence that leads me to believe that he was engaging in sexual activity with underage girls. I think that he's protecting his friends. I think that he's protecting Israel and whatever's left of their reputation. And I also believe that those files are filled with a lot of bullshit, and that's what he's talking about when he says that it's a Democrat hoax. And I want you to really think about this for a minute. If you had a dirty police precinct, okay, think about it, that was laundering money and running drugs and assaulting women and killing people, do you think they'd be writing about that in their files? You think that would be all in their reports on paper? Even the people that were investigating it and uncovered it, you think that they're going to give everybody every little detail? Or maybe are they going to try to cover it up a little bit? And who knows, maybe even plant some evidence and point it in the direction of the guy that they don't like. But hey, that's just my theory. I think Trump's a traitor that sold out the people that believed in him and voted for him, whether they know it or not yet. But I don't think that he's a rapist. And I also want to add that as disappointed as I am in him right now and his administration and what they're doing, I haven't given up hope yet. I'm still hoping and praying that there's something I don't know, something that we all don't know, that there's a bigger picture involved, a bigger plan involved, and that it's going to work out in the end. It's really not looking like that at the moment, I'm not going to lie. But, even if there's a chance that he just makes some kind of change and changes his path and turns things around. I just try to keep an open mind, and I understand that I operate within the parameters of the knowledge that I have access to, and the people that are making the real decisions in the world, they have a lot more access to a lot more information. And it's just something that I always keep in the back of my mind, no matter what is going on. We don't know everything. We actually know very little. I tend to believe that I know, a little bit more than the majority of the population with all the research and stuff that I do, and the fact that I'm not like brainwashed by Operation Mockingbird and the mainstream media. But who knows? All right, but anyway, back to the recap. So after Trump's bro breakup with Elon, he let his butt buddy Bibi rope us into a military conflict with Iran. Luckily, he de-escalated the situation after striking their nuclear facilities, but this was another campaign promise broken. We never should have done this. Bibi's been trying to rope us into war with Iran for like 30 years, and like we were there. We were right on the cusp. And with all the other conflicts going on, it really could have been World War III. And it made Trump look really bad. It made Israel look a lot worse, especially when you factor in what was going on with Gaza and the fact that we weren't getting the Epstein files and that everybody else was starting to actually connect the dots and realize that, hey, Epstein probably worked for Mossad. Which brings us to Charlie Kirk. Now, there is a whole lot to get into when talking about Charlie Kirk and everything that was going on with him before he died and what's happened since he died. I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty right now. I actually have a big Charlie Kirk project that I've been working on, that I've been talking about. At this point, it's looking like it's going to be like a 2 or 3-part miniseries. And I want to drop the first episode for that next week. So I'm going to get into everything then. So for now, I just want to get into the relevant details that fit in continuity with this recap for what we're going to be talking about today. Now, in July, Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA had their annual Student Action Summit, which, by the way, was the largest that they've had in history. He had Tucker Carlson there, who he famously told to go max before he hit the stage. And when Tucker hit the stage, he talked all about Jeffrey Epstein and Israel. Charlie also moderated a debate between Dave Smith and Josh Hammer, where Dave Smith also famously mopped the floor with Josh Hammer to thunderous applause, I might add. This led to the issues that Charlie Kirk was having with his donors, because they were all pro-Israel, and they're pushing the pro-Israel agenda. So, having Tucker there talking about Jeffrey Epstein, it's okay to question Israel, and, are we America or not? It wasn't a good look. They were also very upset with the way that debate went, because Josh Hammer looked very bad. Everybody was clapping for Dave Smith. This, of course, ends up going viral. It's all over the internet. And now, not only is this going viral, but at this same time, there's all these posts circulating, going viral about the devastation in Gaza, and everybody asking about Epstein. All these red flag topics that are really putting a beating on Israel's reputation, and they're circulating worldwide. So a deal ends up getting cut where a person named Erica Mindell, I believe, a former IDF instructor, gets hired to handle policies in hate speech for TikTok. And they ended up making drastic policy changes, which they claimed were to suppress hate speech. Now, I just want to point out, this person was hired in July, and in August, they made those drastic policy changes to combat hate speech. That's what it was all about, combating hate speech. Now, anybody who's been on TikTok ever since then might be singing a different tune. A lot of people, myself included, have had a lot of experience with a lot of suppression of information that has nothing to do with hate speech. In fact, anything anti-Israel or anti-Zionist in any way not only ends up getting shadow bans, but in a lot of cases, you'll get strikes on your account with suspensions and possible banment, which, is this America or not? Like, First Amendment. If it's one thing I understand, if it's real hate speech where you're spreading hate or inciting violence in any way, like that is totally unacceptable. But criticizing a foreign nation, like, what is our First Amendment for? But anyway, just like I said, remember, this person was hired in July, and these changes were made in August. And then we get to September, where Charlie Kirk is tragically assassinated in public, in front of 3,000 people, phones out, the footage floods social media, and, it was just devastating to see. Now, like I said, I'm not getting into all the theories and everything, but there were a lot of anomalies and different things that people saw on that footage that circulated the internet that led for all these different beliefs and theories about what they think happened to Charlie and who was responsible. At the end of the day, Tyler Robinson was arrested for the murder of Charlie Kirk, and the official narrative is that he was motivated by his left-wing ideology and his hate, and he hated Charlie for his political views. And although there's a lot of anomalies, as I stated, and contradictions with the storylines and the evidence and whatnot, what I believe really reinforced this narrative in the beginning was social media. Because despite the fact that, just a month earlier, TikTok made all these drastic policy changes to combat hate speech, or so they say, when Charlie died, there was a lot of hate speech circulating through social media, a lot of hate speech going viral. All these different people you saw on the left that were celebrating his death, just riling everybody up. All these right-wing shill influencers, so quick to point it out, telling everybody America's under attack, the enemy from within, it's them against us, they want us dead. All this dangerous, violent rhetoric that TikTok especially not only allowed to go out, but flooded out through the algorithm so that everybody could see. Just a couple of weeks after they allegedly made these drastic policies to combat hate speech, when in reality, all it's really done is censor people that criticize Israel. Now we're going to fast forward past all the investigations and all the drama and conspiracy theories and just skip right to AmFest. Now, at this point, we basically have a civil war that's brewing on the right, especially between the influencers. You have a couple of different sides to this too. First, you have the real shills like Steven Crowder, Tim Pool, Matt Walsh. These guys are all very pro-MAGA. They're all pushing the mainstream narrative and driving a wedge between Americans, pushing this culture war, claiming to debunk all the conspiracy theories while doing everything they can to avoid the facts. They don't care about the truth at all, and they're trying to use the midterms to scare the hell out of everybody to keep them in line. Then you have the truthers, the investigative journalists, the troublemakers, the alleged conspiracy theorists, like Candace Owens, Baron Coleman, Ryan Matta, Ian Carroll. And, it's funny, Ian Carroll, I don't even know if he belongs in that category because he seems a little more left, maybe left center to me. He is definitely on that team, though. Not only that, he might be the MVP of that team, especially when this is all said and done. But then you have another group. Now, this group may seem like it's part of the first group, but this is the pro-Israel group. This group kind of gives off some Israel first vibes, though you're not allowed to say that because they're going to call you anti-Semitic. But now we're talking about like Ben Shapiro, Mark Levine, Erica Kirk, and Erica Kirk, who I like to refer to as Miss America. I mean, I just love the way she comes out to those fireworks, don't you? Anyway, so everything all kind of came to a head at AmFest. You had Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, like everyone kind of taking shots at each other. Like you could really see this civil war in full effect. But Erica Kirk now is the new CEO of Turning Point USA. And this not-so-grieving widow has been caught in so many lies that at this point there are a lot of people that are kind of thinking maybe she might have been involved with, a couple of other guys. And I just want to say that now that all these pictures are coming out from Erica's past, that her whole story of not drinking and not really dating other guys before Charlie might be some of the only conspiracy theories that actually got debunked in 2025. Next to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel's There Is No Epstein List. And, oh yeah, of course, Erica Kirk telling everybody that she had Charlie's phone and that he wasn't texting anybody, that he thought that they were going to kill him. So yeah, there are a lot of reasons why Erica Kirk, despite the fact that her husband was shot in the neck, actually might be because of the fact that her husband was shot in the neck, is one of, if not the most hated women on the internet right now. Like, it's crazy. Like, she's got like 2016 Hillary Clinton vibes. So it's kind of crazy to me that despite all this going on and all this negative publicity around Erica Kirk, that they thought it was a good idea to have her endorse J.D. Vance for the 2028 presidential election, despite the fact that we're like, what, 2 years away from a primary? You know, like, it's just kind of crazy. It's a little early, in my opinion. You know, like I said, especially because I would think that they would have waited till the primaries. But hey, who knows? Maybe when the Democrats just tapped Kamala, you know, like just pushed her through without a primary, that they started a new trend that we didn't know about. Because it kind of seems like the Republicans are trying to do the same thing with J.D. Vance. They're planting all the seeds like that's going to be the guy in 2028. You know, of course, unless Trump runs for a third term like Mary Madison is saying that she wants, but I don't think that that's going to happen. So that's where we are going into 2026. The right is split into pieces, and it's over broken promises, bad policy, an assassination, what looks like multiple cover-ups, and the interests of a foreign nation. The Democrats are somehow back from the dead, and they're looking to crush the midterms. And they're probably going to do it too, unless the Republicans can get a very big win.